You're not going to believe what I just heard. That teacher, Kimberley Flood, is allowing cell phones in the classroom. No! Doesn't she know the only students who use those things are gang members and drug dealers? She's going to cause the whole school to fall apart. What's the point of using those things anyway? It's not as if some skill that some students are going to need in the workforce. Someone needs to have a talk with her.
Prior to starting my master's, I was one of the teachers that was definitely anti-cell phone in the classroom. But the more I examined their role in society, I had to question whether or not cell phones were really bad for education. And in examining that, then I also had to see whether or not they could actually engage the learner. So what if the elimination of the mandatory learning environment, i.e. the classroom, moved the learner's attitude from the I have to the I want to? Mobile technology provides a fluid environment that allows the learning process to move with the learner rather than the learner moving to the learning environment. And by doing so, it creates an environment that fosters the realization of Maslow's self-actualization theory to come to life. The student can focus on the learning process in the best supportive environment that fosters passion towards learning instead of conformity that may not meet the needs of that concept, assignment, or the learner, him or herself. This doesn't eliminate the need for classrooms, but it does shift where the learning can take place. So for my project, I want to examine mobile technology and its role of expanding learning outside of the classroom. So from that, I had to take a look at what the smart people are saying, the big and the huge thinkers. And in the paper of Using Mobile Technologies to Develop New Ways of Teaching and Learning, 2008, by Harrington et al., 4 questions from this paper are, what are the technology affordances of smartphones and iPods for teaching and learning in higher education? What are appropriate strategies for the professional development of higher education teachers in the pedagogical use of M-learning devices? What pedagogical strategies facilitate the use of M-learning devices in authentic learning environments in higher education? And what pedagogical principles facilitate the use of M-learning devices in authentic learning environments in higher education? And in this article, they explore these questions through the various projects that used mobile technologies in various forms. Now, in Margaret Magg's article that she presented at the 23rd Annual CISLITE Conference, and her article was on the integration of iPods in nursing education. A quote from her article is that the ubiquitous mobile technologies are becoming more important in healthcare training because of the scarcity of educators and the increase in the number of first and second degree students enrolling in schools of nursing. Academic podcasts provide students opportunities to access face-to-face or distant audio presentations and instructor feedback in a convenient manner. Now, this is really growing with the class sizes, but another point that I found interesting was that she quotes an article from Berger from 2006 that that states that the healthcare division accounts for 20% of the total U.S. market for mobile learning, and that mobile learning will become more a norm than exception in the near future. From this, what needs to be explored is how long should a podcast be for maximum retention? And then the idea of distracted learning. How actively listening are students while they're doing their various tasks while listening to these podcasts? In the article, Handhelds Go to School, Lessons Learned, 3 key points are that mobile technology is cheaper than buying desktops as well as taking up less of a footprint within the classroom itself. However, there is, back in 2003, one of the complaints was there's a limited number of educational apps that are applicable in the classroom. And when even I was exploring this recently, I found a lot of stuff for elementary and then, of course, secondary science and English and modern languages. But in my own technological area, it was quite limited. And then how these devices actually can be destructive in the sense that if a student becomes confused while working on an assignment with this device, that it can be distracting because the student can switch and check their email and start doing their farm bill. Other morality issues in regard to these devices focused around the potential use of them for cheating, engaging in disruptive behavior, or downloading illicit content. Now, interestingly, I attended a talk by Mark Carbone, which was with the Toronto Catholic School Board, and he discussed how this September they're going to be rolling out Wi-Fi in the high schools. And one of the questions was what happens if students use it to download inappropriate material. However, he explained that with the firewall in place, that the students won't be able to obtain this content. So here's an example of from the project itself of how they were using mobile technology. And here is a sequence in Match My Graph where students took turns to describe functions in terms of the graph, and then the second student would try and duplicate it from the description. Moving along to Akasaka, Yuro, and Sakamoto's 2009 article on the characteristics of mobile phone e-learning systems in Japan, concerns focused around that service providers need to improve issues concerning management, that the feedback and the hints from the websites and apps that they used received a poor rating, and that more variety is needed in content and learning materials. In Anatomy of Mobilized Learning Proposition Lesson Towards Personalized Learning, National Institute of Education, coming from Luau, Wong, Song, and Seo, um, in this article, they discuss that if students own their personal device or carry them on them 24/7 basis, then the experience continues out of class. The value of mobile technology is significantly enhanced if students learn continuously and seamlessly with their mobile devices as ubiquitous mediator. Yet in the classroom, we can already tap the affordances of mobile technology, as in the mobilized lesson discussed in this paper. So what was interesting in regard to this paper is how we can now, the learning doesn't have to stop when the bell rings at the end of the day. The other thing is from a pedagogical process is that with the diversity of the student populations increasing, it's putting a lot more strain on or pressure on teachers to meet their demands, and this is a tool that could help with it. Students also are going to be able to demonstrate access a wide range of skills and knowledge that may fall outside of the core activity that they're doing. Now, because this article focused primarily on elementary school children, it was also a benefit that these devices don't take up a lot of space on a student's desk, and that they're easy for small children to hold. So the big thinkers, what were the big thinkers saying? Well, you have to take a look with the big thinkers about socioculture theory, and Vygotsky's definitely going to come into mind here. However, first, taking a look at learning through socialization, and this coming from Desjardins and Van Oosten's 2008 paper, that the primary focus is learning through socialization. Also with Lav and Wenger in 1999, that learning is situated within the learning environment, and mobile technology is going to expand that. And the base on social constructionist theory, as the situated perspective relies on students' prior knowledge and past experiences to play an integral role in the construction of new knowledge. And with this, the affordance itself to the learning communities and the cooperative group dynamic allows the sharing and collaboration of knowledge to help make connections with the new material. Also with this came the idea of empowering students to become self-regulated learners. Then this is from Lepan, Kardash, and Turner from Professional School Counseling. And although Levine recognized that mobile technology does have a disruptive reputation, he also saw that its ability to be harnessed for educational purposes, especially since it's become a digital native's social currency. And this is from Schuler, 2009. I also read an interesting study of a project that took place at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto with mobile technology to keep patients in touch with their classrooms and with their work, and by doing so reducing their anxiety. And that was from Fell, Sammers, and Robinson, 2003. So what did Vygotsky say? Well, Vygotsky, he developed the ZPD, the Zone of Proximal Development. And the idea is that if you put materials for students, that they can take them and then learn from them. And so there's this push-pull process happening.